Hey guys, Man here. We took a week off to go on vacation, so we missed a week of Modern Meta Breakdown. But this deck's kind of been making a few waves in the modern scene, so I figured we'd do some talking. Also, we've got Malcolm hanging out with us today, which is a little bit more of a rare thing to see. Usually it's Addie that's sleeping in the background there, but not today. Malcolm's hanging out with us. So we're going to be talking about a Esper based deck. I know it's some sweet colors. People like playing counter spells with blue. They like playing removal spells or disruptive spells with black. White's got some of the best sideboard cards out there, so there's a lot of draws to wanting to play Esper, but it's kind of had a very hard time finding a foothold in Modern overall. But now we've got this Reanimator deck in Modern. Now, we've talked about Reanimator strategies before with like Living End and things like that. People have been asking for Grizzle Shoal or decks like that, which is kind of a lot of the go-to Reanimator style decks when people think about that for Modern. But this now, Esper Gifts, is kind of a sweet way to be playing Reanimator style, at least. It's also just got some powerful cards in it. So we're going to talk about two deck lists here. And let me turn our air down a little bit. Be a little bit quieter, maybe. It's 90-some degrees, guys. You got to bear with me as I melt in here. That's also why Malcolm's hanging out with me, because there's direct air coming at me right now. So, but we're going to be talking about two different decks, very similar creature-based, just slight variations. One's a little bit more control-y than the other. So let's hop over and take a look at our first list, shall we? Alright. We're not using Star City's list? No, we're hopping over to M2G Goldfish to look at that, because I love the breakdown that they do of card pricing. It's a great way to kind of look at things. So we've done it before. We'll hopping back over there again. So as you can see, creature base only 10. Cool. Makes a lot of sense that we'd only be running 10. Single Snapcaster Mage sitting in here. Okay, flashback on an instant or sorcery. Seems good, right? Yeah, we want to be doing that. Jace Vryn's Prodigy does have the ability to do with flashback once it becomes a Planeswalker, which we'll talk about in a sec. First, it costs 2 for an 0/2 legendary creature, human wizard. Tap, draw a card, and discard a card. If there are 5 or more cards in your graveyard, exile Jace Vryn's Prodigy, and then return him to the battlefield, transform as Jace Telepath Unbound, and starts with 5 of loyalty, +1, up to 1 target creature gets -2, -0 until your next turn. -3 is our flashback ability. You can cast target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard this turn. If that card would be put into the graveyard this turn, instead exile it. So again, just gets flashback. -9, you get an emblem with whenever you cast a spell, target opponent puts the top 5 cards from his or her library into his or her graveyard. So, pretty sweet, right? The loot effect that it has works out pretty nicely, because you want to throw these big dumb dudes in the graveyard. So, let's talk about our next couple creatures. Obstinate Ghost Council. Here's part of our Esper package we were talking about earlier. Cost 5 for a 5/5. Okay. Alright. Legendary Spirit Advisor. Cool. Enters the battlefield. Target opponent loses 2 life. I gain 2 life. Seems pretty sweet. Also, at the beginning of your end step, you can exile him. If you do, return to the battlefield under my control at the beginning of your next upkeep, and it gains haste. Well, a lot of times the Reanimator strategies in Modern that are really good, that we can play really early, cause us to exile our creature. So you mean we could be able to keep our creature? Seems like a pretty good reason to be playing this deck. We've also got our other really powerful white creatures that often see play in this sort of Reanimator strategy. Elish Norn. Love her. She's great. How can you not like her? Costs 7 for a 4/7 with Vigilance. Other creatures you control get +2/+2, and creatures your opponent control get -2/-2. So a great way for those go ride strategies to just kind of fall on their face, because they don't get to keep a creature. So yes, -2/-2 is quite powerful. Oh, and it's a 4/7 that buffs your team and has Vigilance. Yeah, why would I not do that? All right, Malcolm. getting in the way now. And our next one, Iona. Yes, 7/7, sweet. 9 mana, whoo, that's a lot. Better be able to cheat that into play. But it's a legendary angel with flying, and as she enters the battlefield, choose a color, and your opponent can't cast spells of the chosen color. Seems good. I like being able to prevent my opponent from being able to play stuff, right? All you hateful people out there with your Lantern controls and your prison-based decks, let's, hate them even more with Iona. So I like it. Great creature to be able to cheat into play. So the objective here is to use Jace and use some of our loot effects or discard effects that we have in our deck to throw Obsidian, throw Elesh Norn, and Iona into our graveyard and reanimate them. Alright, how can we do that? Well, the name of the deck is Esper Gifts. So there's gotta be a card with the name Gifts in it, right? Yes, don't worry. Gifts Ungiven. Cost 4 for an instant, so you can play it during your opponent's turn if you wanted to. Search your library for up to 4 cards, 4 of them, with different names. Target opponent chooses 2 of those cards. Those go to the graveyard, the rest go to your hand. Then shuffle your library. So you can sit here and go, well, if I wanted to, I can pick all 3 of these big old dumb dudes, or I can pick 2 of them, which is the smart way to go. Here's an Obsidian, here's a Iona or Elesh Norn, and then I'm going to get 2 of my Reanimator cards. I can get Unburial Rites, cost 5 mana, or you can flash it back for 4. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Seems pretty good. Cost 5 normally, or you can flash it back for 4. Yes. So that's a great one to grab. But you can also be able to grab Goryo's Vengeance. Return target legendary creature card from your graveyard to play. That creature gains haste, and remove it from game at the end of turn. Splice on Arcane for 3, which is a interesting mechanic for those that did not play during that time. As you play an Arcane spell, you can reveal this card from your hand and pay its splice cost. If you do, add this card's effect to that card. Now, this is the only Arcane spell, so you don't have to worry about that line of text for the main board at least. So good to know though. But 2 mana to just get a creature back, get back Iona, get back Obstinate, get back Elesh Norn. It's got a haste. The fun part with Goryo's Vengeance is really to tie it in with our Ghost Council, because you can be able to say, hey, get it back. Oh, instead of him being exiled from Goryo's Vengeance effect, I'm going to exile him using Obsidian's effect, so he'll come back next turn. And guess what? You'll lose 2, I'll gain 2. We'll just keep this up for a while. So that's a sweet way to do that. So those are our Reanimator strategies, right? Okay, Goryo's Vengeance, Unburial Rites. Gifts helps us find the things that we need. See, there's 3 in this deck. Makes a lot of sense. It's also 3 Goryo's Vengeance because, hey, we're running 3 Obstinats. We want that kind of flicker effect to go on. What else does the deck run, though? What are other ways that we can throw things into our graveyard? Well, Collective Brutality, having 3 of those is nice because we get to escalate off of that. Costs 2 normally, and you can be able to choose any of the modes unless you choose to discard. Then you get to choose more than 1 mode. So you can target opponent reveals his or her hand, choose an instant or sorcery from it. They have to discard it. Target creature gets -2/-2 until the end of turn. Target opponent loses 2, and you gain 2. So you basically can say, I'm going to pay 2 mana, look at your hand, get some knowledge. Oh, and while I'm at it, I'm just going to drain you 2 and gain 2 by discarding this big dumb dude that you gave me off of Gifts Ungiven. Sweet. Seems great. So that's another way to kind of cheat stuff into our graveyard. We've got Disruption set up in here. Inquisition of Kozilek. There's a Single Thought Seize in here. Cool. Life can be a little bit more important because you are running 3 colors. You are a little bit more aggressive with your life and fetching and shocking and things along those lines. So makes sense. We've also got some removal. 3 Fatal Push. Great one to be running around in our current meta. 3 Path to Exile. Sweet. Like it. Exiling creatures. Seems good. We've also got Lingering Souls. So another way to go, hey, Gifts Ungiven. I need a spell. Just an extra card to fill my 4 slots, right? Let's do that. Alright, I'll get Lingering Souls. Cool. Now I can just pay 3 and get 2 spirits. Here's some blockers for a little while. Or worst case, you want something else to go to my hand. Alright, I'll pay 2 and get 2 spirits. Fine. Fine by me. So you see there's 3 running in there. Also, card advantage. playset of Serum Visions in here. Draw a card, scry 2, get yourself set up. So ways to draw a card: Serum Vision, Jace Vryn's Prodigies in here. Makes a lot of sense. Cool. Gifts and Givens can thin out our deck, find us stuff that we need. Awesome. Objective of this plan: be able to grab our big dumb dudes, throw them in our graveyard, bring them back. Cool. Got it. How about our land base? 23 lands, some fast lands in here: Concealed Courtyard, Dark Slick Shores, makes sense. Man lands, Creeping Tar Pit, 3/2 unblockable. Cool. Some fetch lands, Flooded Strand, we got 4 of, 2 Godless Shrines, 1 Hollow Fountain, 1 Island, 4 Marsh Flats, 2 Plains, Polluted Delta, a Swamp, a Watery Grave. So again, nice mix of our fetches and our shocks and stuff like that. The land base that I've seen amongst pretty much every Esper gifts list is pretty much the same. Like, it's very much figured out on the lands that you should be running for this. There's, for this exact version, which is a lot of the ones that are running around, this one took 6th place at the Modern Classic in Cincinnati, and the other lists that I've seen around that weekend were pretty much the same 60, and the only change was the 15 card sideboards were slightly different. But I have a second list to show you soon that is a little bit more control-y and slightly different than this one. So I figured that would be a good one that has been kind of popping up online. But sideboard's got some sweet stuff. Again, removal is the name of the game. Counter magic, name of the game for our sideboard. So Engineer Explosive, yes, I do like being able to have removal spell. Sunburst, whatever mana you pay into it is how many counters will go on it. You pay 2, sack it, and guess what? Destroy each non-land permanent with converted mana cost equal to the number of charge counters on Engineered Explosive. Cool. What else we got? Surgical Extraction, yes, cool. Maybe I'm playing against combo. Maybe there's something else that's a graveyard-based strategy that I want to be kind of hating. Cool. Counter Squall, it's basically negate, but you make your opponent lose 2 life off it too. Yes, big fan. Disdainful Stroke, counter target spell with converted mana cost 4 or greater. So those big Eldrazi stuff, we don't have to worry about that. Disenchant, hey, we've got access to white. Why would we not run some sweet white cards, right? Negate's in here as well. Ruined Halo. Oh, you have protection of the chosen name. Death Shadow, anybody? No? No? So 2 white, I can just say your Death Shadow is not going to bother me. 2 Stony Silence, there's Affinity run around. Yep, need that. 2 Detention Sphere, cool. Guess what? All of these things I could potentially find off of Gifts Ungiven. Seems great. Lost Legacy, name a non-artifact, non-land card, search target player's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with the same name, exile them. They shuffle their library, and then draw a card for each card exiled from their hand this way. That little stipulation, don't forget about it. And then, of course, some board wipes in there, 2 Supreme Verdicts, and kind of throwing it up. Because you see a lot of their stuff is big and might take a little bit to set up. If there's a go-wide, quick strategy before I can get out Elish Norn, something like that, I'm going to need some help. And that'll kind of be some help. So, really fun Reanimator-style strategy that is kind of running around. Again, how do I beat this stuff? What do I need to do? Graveyard strategy, guys. How do we deal with that? Tackle it with some annoying cards, Rest in Peace, Relic of Progenitus, Leyline of the Void, those sort of cards that we've seen in other decks come in. They'll work out great here. So that's kind of the name of the game, to kind of deal with this sort of graveyard-based strategy. Then you just have to kind of rely on killing them off before they're able to get up to that 5 mana and just be annoying with Obsidian. Because once Obsidian comes out, he's pretty annoying. Like, here's 5 coming at you each turn, or not, and I can just sit back on blocking mode and exile him each turn. During my turn, he'll come back, so on your turn, you can't kill him. And when he comes back, he's going to drain you for 2, and I'm going to gain 2. So that is a pretty scary clock, as is, if the board just gets gummed up and I'm casting a bunch of Lingering Souls and have my Obsidians out. Oh, and you're sitting there with Fatal Push? Guess what? You can revolt all you want, you're never killing my Obsidian. Which is... this is the #1 removal spell currently. Fatal Push is in so many decks right now. Guess what? Big dumb dudes, get over it. 5 mana, 7 mana, 9 mana. Yeah, you're not Fatal Pushing those. Have to hope you were running white and have Path. So, let's see a second list, a little bit more control-y though. So, you can see our creature base, 10 creatures, 10 creatures. Alright, so how is this one different? Well, only 2 Ghost Councils this time. Because we wanted to sneak in Grizzlebrand. Ooh. 8 mana for a 7/7 flying lifelink. Pay 7 life. Draw 7 cards. Yes. Seems great. Because I can sit there and Goryo's Vengeance this out. Oh, he's got haste. Here's 7 coming at you. And that 7 that I just got, I'm just going to use it directly to draw 7 cards. Cool. Pay 2 mana, draw 7 cards, deal 7 to you? Yes. Yeah, that seems great. Why would I not want to do that? So I like that kind of slight variation there. It's essentially how you want to be playing. Do you want to have that kind of big swing, or do you want to rely on that slow drain? Slight variance. Makes sense. What are some other ways that we can cheat creatures into play and also be more controlling against our opponents? Planeswalkers. Liliana of the Veil. 3 mana for 3 loyalty Planeswalker. Uptick, +1. Both players are going to discard a card. Oh, that Grizzlebrand that I have in my hand? He's in the graveyard now. I'll be bringing him back next turn. Just you wait. And oh, maybe that removal spell or something that you were holding on to, you're going to discard because that's useless against Lily? Alright, thanks. Just great card advantage out of that by being able to disrupt your opponent. And, well, okay, it's not technically card advantage. It's basically disruption and furthers your game plan. You know, that's kind of the name of the game with Lily for this deck. And then it's got a little bit of removal thrown into her with her -2, target player sacks a creature. Great. I like it. Let's do it. This list also runs additional removal spells in here. Alright, cool. Fatal Push, Path to Exile, sweet. Inquisition, Thoughtseize, those numbers seem the same. Collective Brutality, yep, numbers seem the same. Goryo's Vengeance, cool. 3 gifts, 1 on Barrel's Right, sweet. Shaved on a Lingering Souls for an extra removal spell. Go for the throat. Destroy target non-artifact creature. Alright, cool. There's a lot of creatures running around right now that you want to kill. So, works out great. Now, you better hope there's not a lot of affinity where you're playing, because that card's going to be a dead draw. Easy enough to sideboard out, that's fine. But, you know, if you feeling, hey, there's a lot of quick decks in my area, I need a little bit more removal. This will be good for you. Again, sideboard, cool. Concealed Courtyard, Creeping Tar Pit, Dark Slick. This is running a Fetid Heath. Basically, filter land, pay a white or a black, and I can add double white, white and a black, or double black. Sweet. Allows me to be able to cast my Obstinate maybe on curve a little bit better. So, Flooded Strands in here, playset, 2 Godless Shrine, 1 Hollowed Fountain, 1 Island, 1 Marsh Flats, 1 Plains, 1 Seachrome Coast, 2 Swamps, and 1 Water Grave. Also, the Fetid Heath does help with Lily needing the double black for her cost. So, a little bit more control-y, a little bit more expensive if you are going to go this route by including the lilies. Also, you know, just little tidbits there. How about our sideboard? Cool. Here's some graveyard hate, right? Might be running around 2 mirror matchups. No, this is a list that 5-0 to Modern League, so it's good to have some of that running around your board. Celestial Purge in there. Exile target black or red permanent. So hey, maybe I'm playing against Nahiri. Cool. Maybe I'm playing against Death Shadow. Let's get rid of him. Don't need to worry about Nahiri. Don't need to worry about Death Shadow. Like it. Love the Counter Squall. Negate with an upside. Target opponent loses 2 life when you counter it. Disdainful Stroke. Okay, those big stuff. Don't worry about it. Disenchant's in there. Only 1 this time. 1 Negate. 2 Stony Silence. 2 Detention Sphere. Ooh. Look at this edition here. Ojutai's Command. 4 mana, return target creature card with converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So that can be, hey, Snapcaster's coming back. Hey, Jace Vryn's Prodigy's coming back. Sweet. Gain 4 life. Life is quite relevant. Yes, I like it. Counter target creature spell. Seems good. Oh, you're going to be in this top deck mode with me now. You've stripped away a lot of my cards. You know, nothing that you've had is stuck around very long against Death Shadow. Now you're going to try to play Death Shadow? Nope, we're going to counter that. You're going to try to play that Tarmogoyf? Nope, we're going to counter that. Oh, and I can also draw a card. Seems good. Again, board white, 2 Supreme Verdict, and a Murderous Cut in here. Delve for 4. 1 black, essentially destroy target creature. Seems good. When you're throwing all this stuff into your graveyard, you're gonna have all those fetch lands in there. Yeah, I'm a fan of that. Seems good. So like, you can go for this more control-y route. You can go for kind of the more combo-y route. They're both pretty much the same thing. They're both got the same game plan of, I'm going to throw these creatures into my graveyard. I want to say that I like the Lily version a little bit better, because once all this graveyard hate comes in, you're going to have to rely on that Obsidian a lot. And if they're ready for it, it's going to be tough. This gives you just some extra legs to stay in the game a little bit longer. And an early threat, too. If you're like, okay, I have to wait until turn 4 anyway to cast Gifts, I might as well do something on turn 3 if I don't have a Lingering Souls, right? This gives me an extra thing to do on turn 3 besides cast Lingering Souls. So, I love this deck. I love Reanimator strategies. I had a lot of fun being able to play it with the Vintage Cube. So, really glad this sort of stuff is running around. I did play some Esper Thopter combo that did run the Gifts Ungiven Unburial Rites package in it with Iona and Elishnorn and stuff before, and had fun with that. But this just seems even better. I would probably play this deck right now, except the fact that I do not own Goryo's Vengeance, and I don't want to spend $150 on 3 cards. So that's going to be my wait and see if I can borrow those from somebody, because this seems like a fun deck, and it is something that you're going to see float around from time to time. And now with Modern being a Pro Tour again, I feel like people are going to be playing some really fun stuff, and the format's going to get really weird. So get ready for some crazy stuff coming up with the addition to a Modern Pro Tour, guys. But we'll take the time and talk more about that in the future. This one is really just kind of our Modern meta breakdown, and we're here to talk about Esper Gifts. So again, graveyard strategy or graveyard hate works really well against this Reanimator strategy and Reanimator strategies in general, so make sure you guys are packing that sort of stuff. You could go for the kind of counter war if you're playing control. It's going to be tough, though. Like, Obstinat's a scary threat because your Fatal Pushes are irrelevant. So if you're running white, not as worrisome because you have Path. You can deal with some of those stuff. Be aware of Iona. Them Unburial Righting Iona is not going to be good for you. So, but yeah, this is a fun list that's running around. Even Jeff Hooglin was playing it from time to time. A couple other people started picking them up here. Like, again, it did take 6th place. Tyler Hedgewood was the one that was piloting it to the 6th place finish at the Classic there at Cincinnati. So, as the seasons keep progressing with more Modern events coming up, like Regionals is in November, we'll be seeing how different decks are going to be shaping up the meta. But that's going to do it for this episode of Modern Meta Breakdown. I hope you guys have been enjoying the series. Again, we've been talking about lots of different decks in Modern. I've been posting up additional videos on Monday for you guys to be able to enjoy. We've got some Diablo 3 playthrough. We're going through the campaign of that as a Necromancer. So if you guys like that, it'll be up on the screen for you guys to see the videos for that. We're going to start doing more videos in general. There's going to be some Minecraft stuff again coming up. The StarCraft Remastered is coming out soon, so there'll be some more StarCraft videos coming up soon. Lots of stuff at the beginning half of the week, and then end of the week is all going to be Magic related stuff for all of you guys that are tuning in and watching. But the biggest way that you can help show support, if you like this content, hit the follow buttons, hit the subscribes, all that kind of good stuff. Leave some comments. Let me know what other decks you guys would like to see in Modern. Let me know if you have any particular questions about how these decks are played, any other strategies that can help you beat them, or if you just want to discuss different decks in general. Hey, I'm playing this deck right now for my FNM or this coming event. What do you think about this list? Any suggestions about the sideboard? Oh, I'm lost on my mana base right now. I could use some help. Let me know. I'd be happy to help you out. But again, that's going to do it for us here with Modern Meta Breakdown, guys. Follow, subscribe. You can see the links here, also in the description below. But that's going to do it for us here tonight, guys. And I'll see you guys next game.